When we think of Tokyo Marui, we think of the high-tier class of Airsoft, the magic internals that so many people go and try to copy, and a lot of people remember the questions seen throughout the community, is it TM compatible? Well, finally the Tokyo Marui brand gets its own countdown to give its owners a chance to show off just some of the greatest builds out there. From here in the United States, England, Germany, Japan, sometimes in the tropics, and everywhere else in between. This is US Airsoft, and this is the Airsoft Top Series, the top 5 Tokyo Marui builds. Over the course of 2 weeks, I asked for TM builds to put this count together, and I got quite a lot of pistols, that's for sure. And I got a lot of attention when it came to late entries. Not sure why, but everyone wanted to turn in after the submissions had ended. And with all that, I can show off just what the series can bring in, starting off at number 5, which is held by a classic and an extremely rare Desert Eagle. First up, it's Mark from South Wales with an iconic AMT hardballer Longslide 1911 with a working red dot on top. Movie buffs would immediately recognize this setup seen in the original Terminator movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, but some might not have known that this was even replicated in Airsoft. But there's not much to talk about here, seeing as this is a completely stock gun, straight out of the box. However, just as iconic, if not more in my opinion, would be a gold Desert Eagle. This lovely collector's piece is one of the 20 that were given away in a lottery drawing by TM in Japan. This one in particular, though, was won in a lottery auction later on, and now sits in Octagon Airsoft's collection for collectible guns, which does span quite a bit. If you've ever seen the photos on their Facebook, it's very breathtaking. I love all the old stuff in Airsoft that you can't ever really get nowadays. And you get to see what they don't make anymore. I mean, it seems that we all want to pay attention to the future and all the railed M4s, but we never really step back and remake any of the 60s to 90s guns. I love the Cold War, so I really would like to see more of that in the future of Airsoft. But I guess this is just another rarity in the Airsoft Top Series. Next up is my favorite build on this countdown by the means of looks. Like I just said, I love Cold War guns, so when returning submitter Mons turned in this M733 from Sweden, I just had to have it for the show. Mons originally bought this gun used about 7 years ago to make a Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater inspired Patriot gun. So he added a Madbull Patriot kit, but after a while he lost interest and sold the kit but kept the rest of the gun before playing with his sniper rifles exclusively. But after a while he came back to the M733 to rebuild it just for fun, but he couldn't find the front handguard or barrel anywhere. But then, an old colleague he helped get into Airsoft contacted him and asked if he wanted to buy his old guns and gear, as he didn't want to play anymore. So he actually gave him all his stuff, and in the pile that Mons received was his old barrel. Parts went back and forth throughout this rifle's life before becoming whole again, and all that switching around is what made this TM what it is today. That is, until Mons sells it in parts again sometime soon. To me, I love the look and the story behind it all. However, this is an all-stock gun on the inside, unlike what's next at number 3. This spot is held by Dominick of Missouri for his $1,200 DEVGRU Edition 416. As a true testament to just how well the Tokyo Marui brand has worked for Dominick, he stated that Marui is the best base brand he's ever used, and that he's gone through 4 HPA builds. Despite this though, Dom knew he wanted to push his rifle a little bit further with a few internal upgrades, like a BTC Spectre MOSFET, lonex gears, a prommy piston, an Eagle 6 M100 spring, and new steel bushings. And to round off the $1,200 bill, a surefire M600B, a visionking shortdot, a GMP dbal, and a magpul RFG balance off the externals. Now before anyone starts hating or throwing dumb comments down below, as you would expect when I narrow down the topics of countdowns, there's going to be a few M4 type rifles here and there, and hopefully that doesn't annoy anyone. After all, it could have been nothing but high kappas and G-series pistols in this countdown. But I did get a few other submissions, like Lucas's SPOS 12 with the real Franke folding stock and hook. This does bring up the question if this was the cheapest route to get a stock, since people tend to sell the TM version of the stock for crazy prices like $500. Then, to make all you PlayStation gamers a little bit happy, Sam really broke the mold with his Killzone inspired Hellgast STA-52 FAMAS. This is not an easy gun to replicate at all if I do say so myself, but Sam got as close as he could, so I made sure to add it in. A lot of professional builders even jumped into the mix, including Andy Erickson of Helix Airsoft, who always shows off his skills with his many G-series guns. Then there's Gas Blowback Customs out of Houston, Texas, who put together much the same with a little agency arms and salient mods sprinkled about. But way off in Hong Kong, Andy Yu dominates with his highly custom and fitted IPSC high kappas. There's a lot of great stuff coming from these two builders in Texas shop that some other builders out there can really take note of. But out of these 3, who do you like the most when it comes to pistols? Write your comment down below before we move on to the last 2 spots. So I hate to do this again, but the number 1 spot is going to be up to you guys watching today, as it's a build off between 2 completely different playstyles. But before we get into that, we have to check out what's at the runner-up spot, who sits somewhere in the middle of those 2 top spot holders. No, it's not an SMG, but more of a DMR rifle from England. This is Daniel with his $1,000 NGRS SOPMOD. What internal mods do we have here? Well, I can see a BTC Spectre MOSFET on the list and the same Eagle 6 M110 spring. But this TM is hosting a Prometheus purple hop-up bucking and a Prometheus returner 6.05mm inner barrel. On the outside, a D-Boys KAC SPR Mk12 Mod 1 RAS handguard and barrel are machined to fit with a Madbull low-profile gas block, a Z Airsoft OPS 12 suppressor, a TM DEVGRU CQD sling plate, arms number 22 mid-mounts on top of the RAS rail, a Clone Loophold M3 Mk4 3x9x40 scope, a Docter micro red dot, a Harris Bipod with QD mount, an AN-PEC 2 battery box, and finally to cap off the rails are KAC rail covers and a vertical grip. And this sums up one of the most extensive pieces on this countdown that gives off a lone survivor look all around. Daniel may have shelled out $1,000 in parts to make the setup, but with all of them together, Daniel has a solid build that he can rock at any milsim themed event. And come to think about it, $1,000 for such a build, something so solid, is a pretty good budget for such a milsim gun. So, I approve. But like I said, this DMR rifle is somewhere in the middle of the top contenders, because a bolt action VSR-10 from Adria takes precision a step above. I'd like to begin the number 1 spot with Adria of Spain. Put together by Jordi, or Gatso from Gatso Customs, this custom VSR-10 features a lot of internal modifications, including a PDI bore-up kit, an edgy 6.0 554mm inner barrel, a PDI trigger, PDI barrel spacers and cylinder, an original Marui hop-up, and a 280% PDI spring. Oh, this list is a bit difficult to read since it's all in Spanish, but on the outside, Gatso put on a PDI bolt handle, a PDI suppressor adapter, a VFC bipod, an M40A3 monster stock body, a Remington Mars rail system, and Gatso included a custom hard case for the rifle, and it all came out to $1,500 US. Gatso does some amazing work for sure, and this is just one of the many sniper rifles he's put together. So if you want to see more of his amazing work, then be sure to check out the description, as I'm going to add a link to his Instagram page. He does some high tier quality work, so I'm sure you'll like his stuff. But keep this VSR-10 in your mind, because Fine Back from the UK is someone you may know. Heck, you're probably already subscribed to him already. I really didn't expect to get his attention with this countdown, but it happened. At number 1, it's MattTheMusketeer for his very proven Marui M4 Next Generation Recoil Shock Mark 18 build. What's funny about this submission was, because of Matt turning it in, I had to have my judges vote for their favorite builds blindly so they wouldn't just give him the top spot because they were fans of his. But it didn't seem to matter now, did it? He still got the top spot. Well, kinda. He does still have to win it. So this began life as a stock SOPMOD M4, but was quickly shortened down to a 10.5-inch outer barrel before having a Daniel Defense Mark 18 rail added, as well as the following internal upgrades: a BTC Spectre MOSFET, of course, Prometheus gears, a Prometheus air nozzle, steel cylinder, piston head, an Eagle 6 M100 spring, a KOA AAC Ultra motor, an edgy barrel, a Prometheus purple hop rubber, Lilacs trigger, lock pin, frame lock pin, hard castle nut, and a hard barrel support. And this will be as in-depth as we can get with Matt's gun. But with all of this, can it top Gatso's VSR? This is where you guys come in. Comment down below your pick for a number 1 spot, and trust me, the builders will see your comments, so speak your mind. I love to get you guys in on these countdowns as much as I can, so the next countdowns will be over the KGW KCO2, gas guns, and bullpups, so be sure to keep an eye out on the US Airsoft Facebook and Instagram to find out when the submission polls go up. Parts list will also be in the description, as well as links to MattTheMusketeer's YouTube channel, Gas Blowback Central, Helix Airsoft, and of course Gatso's Instagram. A lot is coming out for the channel, including those Airsoft GI gift cards that I've been talking about. I've just been waiting for the damn things to arrive in my email. But I received them while making this video, so in the next video, I'll be able to tell you guys how you can try and win one. But until the next video drops from the city of San Antonio, this has been Scott Holmbeck, and I'll be sure to see you all next time.